Hello and welcome everyone. My topic for today is tropical cyclone. So whenever we see a catastrophic event, we always have to ask if it has anything to do with man-made climate. The carbon footprint has shifted the baseline conditions of the climate. So the climate change that's happening is likely to affect tropical cyclones in two behaviors, which I'll be covering in a few slides. First, we'll look at a few examples of some cyclones that have taken place. This cyclone named Idea, happened in Mozambique, and it displaced almost 6 lakh plus people. And as you can see from the pictures, the devastation was really bad. People lost their homes, their whole lifestyle or habitat. A lot of animals and human life was taken in through this event. Next, we're looking at Cyclone Amphan that happened couple weeks ago, in West Bengal and Odisha. And 82 people lost their life, and there was widespread damage to property across the state. Next, we're going to see the images seeing is from Hurricane Katrina, which hit the United States in 2005. Uh, and We will be talking about this particular hurricane in more detail further on when I'll be trying to explain a particular concept. Regarding the sea temperature, so the average global sea surface temperature has, according to the graph, has risen from as you can see from the dates, it starts from 1880. So basically, our industrialization movement started in the 1800 to 1850s, and since then the temperature has gone up drastically. As you can see, the average from 1979 to 2000, the line goes somewhere, it passed through zero, and the current temperature that we have, this graph is in 2015, and we saw a temperature rise of almost 1 degree Fahrenheit. And this data is from 2015. If you look at the 2020 data, the temperature has gone up even more. Now, looking at the change in sea surface temperature from 1901 to 2015. So, as you can see, across the globe, if we consider the temperature in 1901 to be zero for all the places, so we'll see how much the temperature has changed relatively in all the places. Now, across the globe, you can see a minimum temperature rise of at least 1.5 to 2 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, you might be considering why is there this blue part below Greenland. So this is happening because the Greenland ice sheet is melting and it is releasing cold water into the ocean. And that is the only reason that because of global warming, we are seeing the temperature lowered in a particular place, but the rest of the globe is seeing rising temperatures. So now we shift our focus to warm water and its intensity and what are the effects. So basically, the heat that is comes into the Earth's atmosphere, almost 90 to 93% of that heat is absorbed by the ocean. So a major part of that is absorbed by the upper ocean, then the deep ocean, then the ice, then the land, and only 1% by the atmosphere. Now our atmosphere is a very thin layer as compared to our whole planet. So, to the two ways that I was mentioning, the how climate change can affect tropical cyclones. So, it happens that first the formation of tropical cyclones most readily occurs when there are very warm conditions at the ocean surface. So, the temperature has to be above 26.5 degrees Celsius. And when the vertical temperature gradient through the atmosphere is strong, so there has to be a good vertical gradient, which causes the circulation of air with water vapor and formation of clouds take place, due to which cyclones are formed. Now, as the climate continues to warm, the difference between the temperature near the surface of the Earth and the temperature higher up in the atmosphere is likely to decrease as the atmosphere continues to warm. Now, as this vertical gradient weakens, it is likely that fewer tropical storms will form. So, this point needs to be taken into consideration that the number of storms are going to decrease. Now, the second way this changing climate will affect the cyclones, and which is the most important topic we need to understand, is the increasing temperature of the surface ocean affects the intensity of cyclones, both in terms of maximum wind speeds and the intensity of rainfall that occurs in association with the cyclones. So, this is because the storm draws energy from the surface waters of the ocean And as more heat energy is stored in these upper surfaces, the cyclones are a larger source of energy to which they can draw from. So as you can see from the graph here, these are the energy accumulation within the Earth's chemistry. So you can see there is abundant energy being stored in the upper surface of the ocean, which in turn helps the cyclone to grow larger and larger in intensity and has higher wind speed. Now, the ocean warming dominates the increase in energy stored in climate system, accounting for more than 90% of the accumulated heat between 1971 and 2010, with about only 1% stored in the atmosphere. On a global scale, the ocean warming is largest near the surface, and the upper 75 meters is warmed by zero point 0.1 degree per decade over the period of 1971 to 2010. So every 10 years, we're seeing a rise in temperature of zero point 0.1 degrees Celsius, which is way too much. Now, talking about Hurricane Katrina, which I'd shown the photos of in the start. So, Hurricane Katrina started forming on August 23, 2005, as a result of a merger of a tropical wave and the remnants of a tropical depression that had happened before. Now, this storm had strengthened and formed into Tropical Storm Katrina on the morning of 24th August. And then it was heading towards the coast of Florida. And it turned into a hurricane only 2 hours after making landfall. But when it made landfall, it started to weaken. And as soon as it came back into the Gulf of Mexico, it became, it regained the hurricane status again. Now, on August 27th, a couple days later, the storm reached category 3 intensity. And as it went through the Gulf of Mexico, which contains unusually warm waters as compared to the water temperature that where the storm had originally originated. Because of this unusually warm water, the category 3 hurricane turned into category 5 hurricane in just 9 hours. And as we saw in the picture, hundreds of kilometers of land drowned, and there was a huge, massive loss of life, and the economic devaluation of that hurricane was around $125 million, which was way too much for not just for that time, just for today as well. So now we're looking at global trends. So with the two conditions that I told you, that the all the tropical cyclone frequency, that is the first plot, we can see that the percentage change is in negative side. So the all the tropical cyclone frequency is going to reduce by around 25%. But the category 4 and 5 tropical cyclone frequency, so the number of cyclones will be formed less, but the chances of forming a category 4 or category 5 cyclone has increased by almost 20-25%. And with that, the precipitation rate has also increased. So now we'll discuss about storm surge. So a storm surge is rise above normal sea level resulting from strong onshore winds and or reduced atmospheric pressure. So basically, storm surges which accompany tropical cyclones can cause extensive flooding of coastal areas. The area of seawater flooding may extend along the coast for hundreds of kilometers, which I mentioned while I was discussing Hurricane Katrina, with water pushing several kilometers inland if the land is low lying. The worst impacts of a storm surge occur when it coincides with particularly high tide. So, according to the photograph given here, you can see that we live far up the land, and the existing high tide does not affect us. But when there is a storm surge due to the cyclone, we see that water comes up significantly. But we still have a certain amount of safety. But if the high tide and the storm surge and the sea level rise all come at the same time, we generally see these hurricanes causing so much destruction because all these three occur at the same time, which causes a lot of problem. And that is it for the part of the tropical cyclones. We'll be heading over to the next topic.